whatever your day holds, you need a breakfast that helps you get up and go. Up.
And go, go, go.
Up.
And go.
A delicious breakfast shake made with oats and milk. High in fibre, high in protein, high in calcium. Start right with Up and Go. The official breakfast partner of British Swimming. Find us in the cereal aisle.
SIM-only plans? There are always so many tempting options. So you jump headfirst into a long contract, which keeps you locked in for 12 months.
Somebody let me out!
At Lebara, we offer great value plans and total flexibility. You can get 10 gigs of data, unlimited UK minutes and texts, and 100 international minutes for just £10 a month. And you can change or cancel anytime.
Now I feel free!
Buy now at lebara.co.uk.
Attention please. Here's something I bet you didn't know. Not all supplements are created equal. At HealthSpan, our omega-3 oil is sustainably sourced from the South Pacific Ocean. We find our turmeric in the southern slopes of India. And our cod liver oil comes from the cold, crisp seas off Greenland. We work hard to seek out the best ingredients for our supplements, because that's the HealthSpan way. We're healthspan.co.uk. Vitamins and supplements in-store or direct to your door.
The latest in tech suit innovation. Frictionless fiber construction. Surface lift technology. Endo compression cage. Seamless exo shell. Tier Venzo. Battleborn.
Well, very good evening to you. We're here live at Tollcross International Swimming Centre for the British Swimming Glasgow meet, which is going to be running between now and Sunday afternoon. I'm Duncan McKinnell, and I'm joined in the commentary booth this evening by Scottish Swimming's Performance Director, Ali White. Good evening, Ali.
Evening, Duncan. Great to be here.
It certainly is great to be here. First Scottish meet back since March 2020. Can you believe it? 15 months we've been starved of swimming competition here in Scotland, but we are back.
We are, and let's hope it's the first of more to come as things start to move forward.
And this is an important meet for a lot of these swimmers. We've got the cream of British swimming up here in Glasgow this weekend. So, Ali, tell us a little bit about this meet and why it matters to a lot of swimmers.
Well, first of all, of course, it's the meet itself is a performance-orientated meet, and it's run similar to the meets that were run by British Swimming in Manchester and in London as well. So, under the Scottish Government regulations, it's run under that performance aspect. But the meet itself is extremely important for three particular things. One, for Olympic qualification and preparation. So swimmers can still qualify for the Olympic Games here and post a consideration time. For the Paralympic preparation, as well as a number of Britain's top Paralympic athletes here preparing for the Paralympics itself. And then there's a really interesting third part to it as well, as we gradually open up competition. Are aiming for and looking to achieve European Junior qualification as well. And of course, for Scotland, it's a great first step forward as well, because we haven't, as you say, had a meet here for the last 15 months. So it's fantastic just to get the ball rolling again, and we're extremely excited about it.
Yep, very exciting indeed. Here's what's coming up this evening. Of course, it's heats this evening and finals in the morning, Ali, so that's something different as well.
Absolutely, and another part of preparation for the Olympic Games itself. In Tokyo, they'll be flipped round, so you will see people swimming the finals in the morning, a bit like it was in, say, Beijing in 2008. And it's a great opportunity for the athletes to try out different strategies and recovery strategies as well.
Things to look out for in that program. You see, it's a busy program. 12 events altogether.
It is, and of course in some of these events, the events are closed out already in terms of Olympic qualification. For example, the first event up, the 200 IM, Alicia Wilson and Abby Wood, of course they've already closed out, but there's a few events that are still open there. The men's 200 backstroke, for instance, Luke Greenbank, pre-selected for the Olympics. And of course, but there is still one spot available in the 200 backstroke in there as well. So some fantastic swimming coming up as well. And if you look at some of the non-Olympic events as well, towards the back end of the programme, I think they'll be pretty exciting too.
And we've got some very strong para swimmers, as you said earlier, and of course big opportunity for them as well with para selection, I think, coming up in a week or so's time. The announcement will be made.
The announcement will be made in a couple of weeks, or a week's or so time, and of course everybody who's trying for selection or has maybe previously been at the Para-European Championships last week or a couple of weeks back as well, they're here for that last bit of preparation.
So a last chance to impress the selection panel.
I would think that's the right as well.
So we'll be starting off with the women's 200 metres individual medley. You said the event was closed off as far as Olympic selection, so it's 2 per event, Ali, is that right?
It's 2 per event, so unlike the other championships, like the World Championships or the European Championships, where you can put more in, it's 2 for the Olympics.
And both the swimmers who have achieved those Olympic times at the trials in London are here this evening. Alicia Wilson will go in heat 4 in the first heat, and Abby Wood, who had a fantastic Europeans, didn't she, Abby?
She was a pretty tough programme she had with the number of events that she was swimming, but in this particular event, an excellent silver medal at the Europeans in the 200 IM. So, yeah, an excellent championship for her.
So there's the lineup on your screen. Maya Hall goes in lane 2 for Ellesmere College. Beatrice Varley, Plymouth Leander in 3, Alicia Wilson of Guildford City in 4, Candice Hall of Loughborough University in 5, Amber Keegan of City of Sheffield in 6, and one of our 2 para-swimmers in this event, Maisie Summers-Newton, because one of our star para-swimmers swimming SM6 swims for Northampton in lane 7. So the whistle goes, and we're about to get the first competition in Scotland for 15 months underway. So away we go. Interesting to see. What would you expect in terms, obviously they're not going to be swimming, you would think, as fast as they did at trials in London when they were tapered and really looking to strut their stuff. So how close do you think they would get to those times here this evening, Ali?
I think it's a really interesting question, Duncan, and it very much depends on, I suppose, the state of the preparation is at this point in time, and I suspect they'll be racing pretty tough, because if they are going to practice the process of going through evening heats and morning finals, then I think they'll want to put themselves out there.
So it's Alicia Wilson and Candice Hall who have really made the jump on the rest of the field now, and you can see they're pretty much stroke for stroke here coming down the backstroke section of this individual medley. Maybe about half a metre in favour of Alicia. Alicia was second in the British trials, achieving the Olympic consideration time. That time 2:09.61 she did in London. Goes through in 1:06.17 at the halfway point.
Alicia just missing out on a second swim at the Europeans in this event. It came a wee bit of a cropper with the 2 home swimmer rule, so you have to be in the top 2 to qualify for the semi-finals and finals at the Europeans. and unfortunately didn't quite make the top 2. So
yeah, she was in the top 16 overall, but that doesn't help you if you've got 2 Brits in front of you. So still very close though as they go to the freestyle. Alicia in 4, and Candice just got the jump of her there on the turn in lane 5. So Candice Hall will be pushing it hard here. Candice 3rd in the British trials, did her 2:13 there, winner in the British Swimming Invitational meet in Manchester just before that. You can see Alicia now coming back at her a little bit in the freestyle, but it looks like Candice has got enough in hand here. Of course, they'll be doing it again tomorrow morning in the finals. That certainly will book those 2 into a final slot. 2:12.04 for Candice to take that one home. So that was a pretty strong swim there, entered on 2:13, so she really pushed it hard there for a heat swim.
Yeah, it was an excellent swim from Candice there. And actually, Alicia Wilson, they're going a couple of seconds quicker than she did at the Europeans as well, so certainly moving back in the right direction. And a great opening heat, to be honest with you.
Meanwhile, we can just see Maisie Summers-Newton's going to be coming into your shot now, the para swimmer, so she's entered 2:57, so that was a time that she did at the Worlds last year, and she comes in, let's just see, time of 3:01.66 for her, so not too far away from that. I think she would be reasonably happy with that as a time in preparation. Surely certainly one of the swimmers who will be at the Paras in Tokyo later in the year. But the result, Candice Hall 2:12.04, Alicia Wilson 2:12.38, and it was Beatrice Varley 3rd place 2:19.46, Amber Keegan 2:20.75, so she'll be keeping an eye on what happens in the second heat and see whether that is good enough to get into the final. There is confirmation of those times on the screen for you. Maya Hall 5th. Not quite sure why Maisie appears in 6th there, because she'll be going into the para final in this one. Amber Keegan, in fact, showing there 2:20.75. So good that she's up twice. Oh, now she's not. So that was the first heat. Of course, we have a little bit of time in between the 2 heats, so we go through all the protocols. We're getting well used to that now, having been through all of this in Manchester a couple of times and in London. So everybody just gets things absolutely sorted to minimize any threat of infection in this event. So looking forward to heat number 2. Interesting, we've got Amy Wilmot deciding to go in the 200 IM. She didn't swim this at trials and obviously decided that 400 IM was her bag, and of course she swam magnificently in what was really a one-woman show in London, wasn't it, for Amy?
Yeah, she was quite clearly in front at the Olympic trials. I thought she swam excellently there. I suspect, knowing Amy, that she would have liked to have swum a little bit faster at the Europeans as well, but a lovely silver medal there as well, and any international medal I think is a good medal.
Well, absolutely.
So, you know, but she's been a tremendous one and a fantastic ambassador for the sport out there, and a great role model for young swimmers coming through as well.
So the swimmers just coming out now to the blocks. Abby Wood we spoke about a little bit earlier with the fine performances that she's had, including a silver medal, of course, in these European Championships in Budapest. So what would you think we can expect from Abby here? So we had some fast swimming in the first heat. Will we get that again here?
Again, I think similar to the first heat, I think they'll be attacked quite hard. I think they'll be expecting you know, an honest effort here. Appreciate there's not quite as many swimmers as we would want to see in these events, but as we're doing it to try and keep everybody safe at the same time, it's a fantastic opportunity to see the racing. But I do think it'll be attacked, and we should see a pretty decent effort, I think.
So the line-up, Ellie Simmons going, the SM6 swimmer from Camden, Swiss, goes in lane 1. Maisie Thornton of Crawley in 2. Rachel Anderson, Loughborough University in 3. Abby Wood of the Loughborough National Centre in 4. Amy Wilmot of the University of Stirling in 5, Betsy Wizard of Northampton in 6, and Abby Kane swimming SM13 for the University of Stirling in lane 7. So that's your lineup. It'll be very interesting to see how Abby progresses against those very fast splits that we saw in the first heat, and whether Amy goes with her. I suspect it might again be the two in lanes 4 and 5 that will make the running here.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, of course, qualified into the semi-final at Europeans on this event. Was one of the top two Brits in that event, and I think she'll be looking to put another strong performance in here. Again, it just depends on what stage of preparation you're in.
Yeah, there's Abby Wood, who's certainly pushing it out very hard, 27.57. That is faster than the first heat by about 4/10, and she's got quite a big lead now over the rest of the field. Amy Wilmot, and beside her, Betsy Wizard. And then on the other side, Rachel Anderson and Maisie Thornton, but they're all quite a long way behind Abby Wood now.
And interestingly, that first 50 was pretty much identical to the first 50 she swam at the European Championships finals, so she's clearly going for it.
So halfway mark, she goes through 1:01.47. Well, wow, this really is pushing the boat out very hard indeed. Amy Wilmot 1:03.97 in second, 1:04.60 for Rachel Anderson in third. So that is beginning to become the 1, 2, 3 fairly clearly. Betsy Wizard just a little bit further back, but well, this is the Abby Wood show here. She is scorching away. Can anyone get close to her? I don't think they can. It's pretty rare at this standard competition to have a lead of 6-7 meters at 150 in a 200 IM, Ali.
It is, but I guess you're watching world-class swimming here. So Abby Wood really taking it out hard, and looks as though she's just starting to hang on now, but she's doing a fantastic job.
So did a 2:09 at London. See whether she can get anywhere close to that. You see the clock just into the 2 minutes now, and she's got around about 5 meters to go, so she's going to be pretty close to it. Let's see what the time is. It's 2:10.14. That's very impressive stuff. So in the end, a couple of seconds faster than Candice Hall's time. So setting out a statement there. Second place was Amy Wilmot, 2:16.70, and Rachel Anderson 2:20.47. So they'll certainly be in the final. 2:20.98. I think Betsy Wizard will make it as well. There you can see coming in now. We're watching Ellie Simmons. Abby Kane has just come in on the other side of the pool in 2:46. This is Ellie Simmons, entered on 3:03, because what a performer, Paralympic champion in London and in Rio. And she is going to complete the heat in a time of 3:07.29. So that wasn't bad at all. Just 4 seconds away from her entry time. But Abby Wood was certainly the star of the women's 200 IM, I think. 2:10.14. Very hard to see past that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but it's a different race tomorrow morning, so everything's up for grabs. But 2:10, it's just slightly out of the time that she did at the European Championship, so she's clearly in very good form. And I guess the challenge is to try and get back up again tomorrow morning and try and either replicate or go a little bit faster. I think that'll be the challenge.
So next up we have the men's 200 individual medley. So in this one we also have a full house as far as Olympic selection is concerned. Duncan Scott and Joe Litchfield. And 3 heats go in this one, and both Joe and Duncan going here. We've also got Tom Dean, who's booked his place in the Olympics, and Max Litchfield also going, who's of course 400 IM specialist. So again, a pretty stacked field here in this 200 IM. In the first heat, there's the lineup: Jack Milne, Dundee City Aquatics; George Clough, University of Stirling; William Riley of Bath University; Tom Dean, also Bath National Centre; Charlie Hutchison, Loughborough University; George Smith of Ellesmere College; and Harvey Freeman of Northampton. They're just coming out to the blocks now. Will be underway very shortly. So what would you expect here? The women certainly put out a statement of fast swimming in the evening, and hopefully faster swimming tomorrow morning. Can we expect the same from the men?
Well, I'd expect the same approach, if you like. Whether or not you get the same outcome, I'm not quite sure. But Tom Dean in here on this first heat, I don't think he swam it at the trials in London, but he's a pretty mean medley swimmer. And wouldn't surprise me if he's up there challenging in the final tomorrow, should he qualify this evening.
Of course, we saw a British record set by Duncan Scott in this one in the British trials, so do you think he'll be anywhere close to that British record?
I'd be surprised if he was super close to that one. I think they'll just be looking for a great race, and I think certainly with the depth in this event, I think that's what we'll see.
Let's hope so. They're ready to go. So off they go. A reminder of the lineup: Jack Milne, George Clough, William Riley, Tom Dean, Charlie Hutchison, George Smith and Harvey Freeman at the bottom of your screen. And it is the white cap of Tom Dean just edging it out, although a good start from Charlie Hutchison. Scott from Loughborough University is setting a good pace, and then in between those also George Smith up there in lane 6, but it is Tom Dean who turns first, 25.71. Charlie Hutchison just in second place and having a pretty useful backstroke here, as is Will Riley in lane 3. Making some progress here, and they are perhaps slightly coming back at Tom Dean in the second 50. The gap down to half a metre or so as they come to the 100 turn. 3 of them pretty close. Tom Dean just leading them through 57.91, just 3/10 up on Charlie Hutchison. Do you feel that Tom here is perhaps swimming well within himself and just allowing the others to stay in touch, and perhaps we'll look to the freestyle just to see them off?
Yeah, he does actually look as though he's working pretty hard. I think, as you'd expect him to turn and dominate the freestyle leg, being a guy who goes 144, 2 and 3. So, but Charlie Hutchison there, maybe more renowned for the 400 medley, but he's pretty decent across the 200 events as well.
He's certainly given it a good go here, because Tom Dean, although he's holding that lead, is certainly not getting away from him in this last 50, and Will Riley is also pushing hard in lane 3, so the 3 of them coming in 10 metres to go. It still is just Tom Dean, and I think he knows what he's doing just to stay ahead of them. It's going to be Riley in second place and Hutchison in third. Good racing there. 2:02.91 is the time there. So 1:58 he was entered on. Tom, the time he did at the World Championships back in 2019. So that you'd see Jack Milne, the para SM14 swimmer, coming in up in lane 1. Time for him 2:24. So let's wait for confirmation of the result on that one. But pretty tight between the top 3 there. And of course, with 3 heats, third place puts you in a little bit of jeopardy, you'd think there. And, so Charlie Hutchison 2:03.74 will have to play a bit of a waiting game here to see whether he's done enough to get in the A final. There will be a B final in this one. The rules are that if there's more than 17 swimmers, then we get a B final. So you'll certainly get a second swim, but I'm sure he'd much rather be in the open final than the B final.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Duncan. I think that's why you saw a couple of really decent swims there by Will Riley and Charlie Hutchison. That's their best swims of the season. I know that the meets have been limited, but certainly faster than they went at the Olympic trials as well. So really, really positive swims from them, and it just shows you that getting your hand in, how important that is. It could be the difference between getting into the final or not getting into the final. We'll see how, obviously, the next two heats go, though.
Yes, certainly sets a standard, a good standard for these next two heats to think about. Joe Litchfield goes in the seeded fastest lane 4 in this next heat, and next to him Mark Sharanek was very experienced IMer, and so much less experienced but very promising young Scot Angus Allison on the other side. Angus will be gunning for Euro Juniors, I would guess, this year.
Yep, he's of European junior age. It's great to see him up swimming against the seniors in this part of the event. Swam extremely well down in London. Has been training throughout, through in Edinburgh with his coach Kostas Kalitsas, and also supported through Edinburgh University as well, which through lockdown was extremely positive for him. So he's been in pretty good form.
So the lineup in this one: Nick Pyle goes to the University of Stirling in lane 1, Ben Cope from City of Sheffield in 2. Then we have Angus Allison of Warren de Baths in 3, Joe Litchfield of Loughborough National Centre in 4, Mark Sharanek of University of Stirling in 5, Ben Harrison of Loughborough University in 6, and his teammate Greg Butler goes in lane 7. Joe Litchfield then, 1:57.74, which was the time he did at the British trials, getting that Olympic qualifying time. He had a really good trials, Ali, didn't he, Joe?
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. He was fantastic at the Europeans. I'm not sure there is an event that this boy can't swim.
So we'll keep an eye on the splits on this one and see how hard they push it. White cap, Joe Litchfield. In the black cap beside him, Mark Sharanek. Straight away, it's these two taking it out. So Litchfield, 5th in the heat in the European Championships, but couldn't progress. How tough is that?
Again, it just shows you the strength and depth in this event, and it's extremely tough to make the team, which is obviously something that we'd love to see in all events across swimming in Great Britain. I think having that competition, that's what keeps the sport moving forward, and certainly that's what's happening in this event.
So it is Joe Litchfield leading the way down the backstroke length, with Mark Sharanek around about a metre and a half behind him. Then it's fairly tight for 3rd. Going pretty well up at the top of your screen there, Nick Pyle of the University of Stirling. He is in 3rd place, just ahead of Ben Harrison through halfway, 56.09. So that is a fair bit faster than Tom Dean was in the first heat. 2nd place, Mark Sharanek. And Nick Pyle up in lane 2. See if he can hang on to that 3rd spot through the breaststroke. Angus Allison starting to move up, and so is Ben Harrison, but it's still Litchfield and Sharanek leading the way, and Litchfield holding his advantage pretty well here as we come up to the 150. Still best part of a body length clear in 1:30.73, so now over 3 seconds faster than the first heat. And well, these two certainly, you would think, will be swimming again in the open final tomorrow. And it looks like Mark Sharanek maybe just going to try and push Joe in this final 50. He's closed the gap down to less than a metre now as they come up to the final 5. But looks like Joe is going to hold on, but well, it was close in the end. 2:00.86 and 2:01.10 is the 2 times. So the 2 fastest times so far with 1 heat to go. Angus Allison just getting in there 3rd, 2:06.12, and Nick Pyle 2:06.32. So both those were actually slower than that third place time from Charlie Hutchison, so beginning to look maybe more promising for Charlie.
Yeah, and also Will Riley as well on that one as well. So the benefits of putting out a strong time in the opening heat. I don't think you really got much choice because you don't know what's coming after you. We saw that quite a lot in Budapest. The first heat's been extremely strong, but that was pretty controlled swimming, I think, from Joe Litchfield there. Mark Schranek, an experienced campaigner, Commonwealth medalist, NCAA champion as well, so very experienced, and that should be those top two straight through to the final, and it should be a great race tomorrow.
So next up, final heat, we've got I was going to say 200 IM specialist Duncan Scott, but he's such an all-rounder, isn't he? British record holder. And next to him, the 400 IM specialist Max Litchfield. So you would think they will be the two who will set the pace here.
I did say in the last heat, is there an event that Joe Litchfield can't swim? Well, I think Duncan's in the same vein, isn't he? All the way through his development, he swam just about every event out there, and I think that's what's given him the strong foundations of medley swimming now.
I'm not sure I've seen him do a 1500 anytime recently.
Well, not in recent years, Duncan. I think I could go back to when he was about 14, maybe, when he swam his last 1400. I think maybe Coach Tig asked him to do one last one, and maybe that was the end of it. But he did swim them, and ironically, he was very good at them. Although, to be fair, I'm sure he has swum some at the Bucks Championships as well, so maybe he has swum 1500s after that as well to contribute to the team points.
That's for someone to check on the record books there and just have a look in the rankings and check out Mr. White. He's not often wrong in these things. So the lineup here, Adam Wilson of City of Sheffield will go in lane 1, Thomas Payne of City of Manchester Aquatics in 2, Cameron Brooker of Wickham District in 3, then we have Duncan Scott from the University of Stirling in lane 4, Max Litchfield of Loughborough National Centre in 5, Joel Thompson, Ellesmere College in 6, and Bradley Newman from the City of Cardiff in lane 7. Of course, things went slightly awry for Duncan in the Europeans on this one, where he tried to do a sort of Superman effort, really, on, can't remember which evening it was, but where semi-final followed by the final in the IM.
Yeah, it was a difficult ask, but definitely an opportunity to practice certain strategies out, see what it's like, see what it feels like. I think when you're looking ahead to the Olympic Games, getting an opportunity to practice these types of things is extremely important, certainly under pressure, and certainly would have been looking to win medals in all of those events. It wasn't to be on that occasion, but he did perform extremely well.
So the standard has been set 2:00.86 from Joe Litchfield. Duncan 1:55.90, new British record. This is entry time, the time he did in London. He's just edging away from Max Litchfield early on, both in black caps in the centre lanes. Just behind them, Joel Thompson in 6 and Cameron Brooker in 3. Let's see what the time is at the end of the fly. Duncan going through in 25:78. So that is a couple of tenths faster than Joe Litchfield's time. Around about maybe a metre and a half advantage now for Duncan. Max has a pretty strong record in 200 IM as well. European Championship finalist, 4th in the 2017 World Championship, so you certainly can't ignore his claims as a 200 IMer as well as a 400 IMer.
No, he was right up there again in the mix when it comes to Olympic qualification in this event. Obviously a bit more renowned as the 400 medley swimmer, but I mean, he's world class at this event as well. So,
and he's showing that just at the moment. He is pulling away from Duncan Scott at the moment. There's a body length clear. You certainly would expect them both to be comfortable into tomorrow morning's final, but it's Max Litchfield who's making the pace, 1:31.31. Not quite as fast now as his brother. We'll see whether Duncan will want to come back at him, and this doesn't look like he's going to. So Max Litchfield looks like he's got this one in the bag. And just making a bit of a statement in these evening heats to take through just over the 2 minutes, 2:00.15. So in the end, he's the fastest qualifier for tomorrow morning's final. Duncan will certainly be there, 2:01.76 for him. John Thompson, 2:04. So we'll have to just wait and see whether that was good enough, 2:04.63. Just looking back at the 200 IM women, I can tell you that it was Abby Wood, Candice Hall, Alicia Wilson, Amy Wilmot, Dee Varley, Rachel Anderson, Amber Keegan and Betsy Wizard who will be the finalists. Of course, we've got 3 swimmers will go through to the para-final. Maisie Summers, Newton, Nellie Simmons and Abby Kane. So there's the summary of that final heat. Won, as I say, by Max Litchfield, and just looking at the scoreboard here, he was the fastest qualifier, as I said. Just waiting for results to come through on my screen just to confirm who the 8 finalists are and who have to settle for the B final. So next up will be the 100 butterfly. So there is a place available in the 100 fly women. Do you think anyone can stake a claim?
well, who knows? To be honest, Duncan.
So the one place so far is Harriet Jones has claimed 57.79. Of course, we have some really strong swimmers here. Alice Thomas goes in the second heat, who of course claimed a spot in the 200 butterfly trials. Harriet Jones goes in the third heat. We've got the Scot Kiana McInnes in the fastest lane in the first heat. And she was pretty useful at trials. Certainly showed some good lifetime bests, I think, in London, in both 100 and the 200. In fact, set a new Scottish record in the 100, 58.79. Interesting to see what Piana can do here. 5 swimmers in this first heat. Kate Mills of Loughborough University in 2, Maisie Elliott of Plymouth Leander in 3, Kiana McInnes, University of Stirling in 4, Cara Schlossen of Bath National Centre in 5, Betsy Wizard, Northampton in 6. Second swim for Betsy, so she's not had a lot of recovery time after that 200 IM.
Maximising the opportunity to race.
Yeah. So entry times 58 up to 61 high. Too much separating them down the first length. Looks like maybe Kiana's got the edge, although Betsy Withers showing no ill effects from that 200 IM. Is right up there, and in between them Cara Schlossen. So they're the 3, led by Kiana McInnes. Time of 28 seconds dead. So now starting to stretch away. Of course, as a 200 specialist, who is going to get stronger and stronger, you would think, as the race progresses in this 100.
Yeah, she looked pretty controlled over the first 50. And just looks quite strong coming in now.
So can she sink under the minute? Let's have a look. Yes, she can. 59.43. So a very handy heat swim there from Kiana. Second place, Connor Schlossen, 1:00.82, and Betsy Wizard, 1:01.30 in third place.
Just a mere warm-up for Betsy Wizard, wasn't it, really, that 200 IM?
Yep.
Pretty decent effort off the back of that race.
Of course, the other interesting situation would be who takes the fly spot in the medley relay for the women, because there's a lot of contenders for that.
Well, there is Alice Thomas already qualified on the 200 fly, and Harriet Jones has taken the qualifying spot, of course, as part of the medley relay, and in time as well. So, you know, already 2 flyers on the team. There's a spot up for grabs here. It'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
And of course, Laura Stevens was superb in that spot.
She
in
was.
the gold in Budapest.
In the 4x1 medley, really. So an interesting decision on that one. And again, interesting that she's not slated for swimming this individual. So maybe looking to the 200 fly is a big opportunity to grab a spot on the team. Post a consideration time, so maybe that's what's going through her mind at the moment.
So that's the Heat 2 lineup on your screen. Gaia Alcaraz of the University of Aberdeen in lane 2. Sophie Freeman goes in lane 3 for Plymouth Leander. Lane 4 is Alice Thomas for Swansea University. Tane Bruce of Edinburgh University in lane 5. Isabel Goodwin of City of Leeds in 6. And Maisie Thornton completes the field swimming for Crawley in lane 7. Can confirm the people who did make it into the men's 200 IM final. Then the 2 Litchfields, Mark Juranic, Duncan Scott, Tom Dean, Will Riley, Charlie Hutchison and Joel Thompson. The 8 that made the A final. Others will have to satisfy themselves for the B final with just a few missing out. Harvey Freeman, Ben Cope, Thomas Payne, Adam Wilson. Jack Milne will get to swim a para-final all by himself tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I would imagine that Jack, who's from Dundee, coached by David Haig there, has been training a wee bit up in Aberdeen as well. He'll be looking to go a little bit faster than he did this evening. It's a good opportunity.
So ready to go with Heat 2. So Alice Thomas looking to post a fast time here. Entered on 58.17 and then just a second or so behind her Tane Bruce. University was the Scottish record holder until Kiana nicked it off her. So maybe she can get it back. So off they go. Alice, such an experienced swimmer. 31-year-old, really is just living proof that you can be any age and really come to the fore with the performances that Alice came up with in 2018 and 2019 sort of period.
Absolutely, great point, Duncan. I don't think age is a barrier, especially she's swimming 200 fly as her main event as well. She's a fantastic technician.
27.66. It was Alice Thomas just by 600ths at the halfway mark from Tane Bruce, and Tane is pushing it pretty hard though, and I think she maybe has just edged back into the lead here. There's nip and tuck between the two of them, with third place in lane 6 Isabel Goodwin. Does look like Tane maybe just, well, I don't know. It's going to be on the touch, I think. Maybe Alice is just going to nick it. She just spotted her finish there, 59.57. You'd think that was almost the final. They both wanted to win there, didn't they?
Well, I mean, I think that's really good racing, isn't it? It's nice to see people going head to head like that when it is just about getting their hands in on the finish, spotting the finish. Yeah, I think Tane will be probably quite happy with that swim. Nice to drop under the 60 point there, and Alice, well, after the European Championships, likewise a tough race. That'll be good for her.
Confirmation Isabel Goodwin third, 1:00.85. This one from Leeds. So 1 heat to go, and Harriet Jones, who has that Olympic spot, will go in lane 4. Emily Large will be one who will maybe fancy a chance. We haven't spoken about her. World youth champion a few years ago.
Interestingly, just watching, we were talking about this being a meet for juniors as well, and many of the girls here that are racing this evening have been strong juniors in the past. And we've watched Kira Slauson, we've watched Kiana McInnes and Emily Large all swimming in the fly events, and they were all swimming the fly events at the World Junior Championships together in the 2017 as well. So it just shows you that there is a level of transition that's going on at the moment in female swimming, and at the Europeans, tremendous swimming from the female side, really up there with some of the best swimmers in Europe. So has been great to see some of the youngsters making a positive transition, and long may it continue.
And a youngster coming up in lane 6 in this one, Lucy Grieve of South Ayrshire. So another one that you'll know well, being part of the Scottish Performance Squad system.
Indeed, and coached by Byron Steriker down in South Ayrshire. Has been making steady progress over the years. Each of the home nations has these, I suppose, youth squads, performance squads, as you put it that way, just to help support what goes on in the daily training environment, help to provide some opportunities, competition opportunities, some training opportunities, some educational opportunities. And I think across Britain you can see how that has an impact on athletes. Of course, it's been particularly difficult over the last 15 months, but hopefully that level of engagement and support will pick up again more so over the coming months.
Let's line up in this third heat. Sarah Glasgow of Hatfield in 2, Yasmin Perry of University of Aberdeen in 3, Harriet Jones of City of Cardiff in 4, Emily Large of Bath National Centre in 5, Lucy Grieve of South Ayrshire in 6, and Rebecca de Torres of City of Cardiff in 7. Another very promising youngster, going through a similar process, I guess, in Wales to what Lucy is doing in Scotland. So we'll see how those two battle it away, the two young Turks on lane 6 and 7. Harriet Jones, I think, would just be wanting to cement the excellent swim that she did in London, winning those trials, as I said, and achieving the consideration time. 57.79 was her time in London, and she is going to lead them through halfway. Time of 27.64, so pretty much identical time to the previous heat.
Yeah, Harriet Jones has certainly got some speed about her, and she's fresh and ready to go. She's pretty quick over the 50 as well, so it's no surprise that she touches first. It's really about how she can maintain the last 25.
Yasmin Perry and Emmy Large battling it out for second. Looks like Yasmin's going to get it. And just maybe closing a little bit on Harriet Jones in the closing stages. So Yasmin will be hoping for a place in the final. They're just over the minute. 00:33 with Harriet just under 59.97. So it's in fact the slowest of the 3 heats. Sneaking under the minute by that tiny fraction, 300ths. As I said, 1:00:33, and then Emily Large in third, 1:00:64, and Lucy Grieve just behind her, 1:00:99. So we'll see how that plays out for the top 8 in a moment, as we now start to think about the men's 100 butterfly. So from what you've seen there, as I said, there is one place for grabs in that women's 100 fly. Do you think that tomorrow morning somebody would be setting themselves up to try and grab it?
I'm not sure whether that's the case, Duncan. I think what the standard is 57.5 odds, that sort of thing. So I think it's a tough ask based on what we've seen this evening to drop, but you're never quite sure how people are planning to move through the heats. But it would have to be a fairly significant drop in the morning to see the challenge there for an individual spot.
Yeah, 57.92 I think is the qualifying time. So Kiana with the fastest of, well, not quite, it was actually Alice Thomas was slightly faster than her. They'd have to drop by about 1.5 seconds, those two.
Indeed, and as I say, that's a relatively tough ask. If it's been controlled, the swim, then there's always a chance, isn't there? So clearly, some of those girls are capable of doing it. So you never know.
Yep. Watch this space tomorrow morning. I'm sure you'll be back with us to see that. But we now start to think about the men. Again, we've got 3 heats. Now here's something I don't think I've seen before. Scott Quinn, of course, the breaststroke specialist in the para swimming, SB14, but he's swimming fly here.
Indeed, I'm not sure what was going through his mind when he entered it. I think it's an opportunity for more racing for Scott. I think when you don't get the opportunities as maybe regularly as you would normally do, you try and grab it with both hands, and it is great to see him racing there as well. And of course there's a few of his para-swimming teammates in there as well, which will make for some good viewing. Stephen Clegg in there, having a world record at the British Para International for his class. What a fantastic swim. That was super exciting to finish the whole meet off. It just really was great. I'm not sure he's in quite that nick at the moment, but because his eyes will be focused on what's happening later on into August and September. But I'm sure he'll be out to beat his teammate Scott Quinn, that's for sure.
I'd be surprised if he has too much trouble with that one. Ed Mildred, the fastest entry time in this heat, promising 18-year-old from Northampton, so he's certainly one for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Mandy Sharp, he's certainly progressed through the junior ranks, and still a junior now, and he's up there challenging with some of the best swimmers in Britain at the moment.
So his entry time 52.64. Was part of the team that went out to Budapest, swam this event there. Didn't progress through from the heats, but good experience for him. So the full lineup: Scott Quinn goes in lane 1 for Warren de Bath, Michael Gunning of Stockport Metro in 2, Ben Carr of Edinburgh University in 3. Then it's Ed Mildred of Northampton in 4, Tom Bealey, Plymouth Leander in 5, Stephen Clegg of Edinburgh University in 6, he's swimming S12, and Louis Lawler, second S14 swimmer, goes for the City of Glasgow. Of course, his home pool here. He goes in lane 7. So no doubt about who's leading this one. Ed Mildred by quite a wide margin here from Tom Bealey. Tom probably more of a 200 specialist. He is left in the wake here really from Ed Mildred, who's pushing it out very strong. So let's keep an eye on this time. It's not going to be far away from his entry time at all. 53.43. Well, that was pretty nifty, Ali.
Yeah, it was an excellent swim there by Ed. Really strong out in the first 50, and did maintain his form quite nicely down the second 50 as well. So spotted the finish well. So 53.4 in the heats. It's a pretty decent swim.
Just looking at that, Stephen Clegg time in 4th place there, 57.71. So you said he probably wouldn't get
Wouldn't be quite there, but he wasn't far off, was he?
Within a second.
Yeah, an excellent swim from Stephen as well, and Quinny there finished the race, so that was that was a good effort. 64.6, probably a personal best for him.
Well, it was inside his entry time, 64.79. So yeah, Louis Lawler at 63 there. So see them both in the final for the para event tomorrow morning. Tom Bealey was second, Ben Carr third, or Michael Gunning rather third in that one. So swims there, just looking up the 100 butterfly, just confirming there the A finalists: Kiana McInnes, Alice Thomas, Tane Bruce, Harriet Jones, Yasmin Perry, Emily Large, Cara Schlossen and Isabel Goodwin. So they'll get the chance to have a go in the A final. Lucy Grieve just missing out by 1400ths. So on to heat 2. One para para swimmer, Ollie Carter in lane 1. He's swimming S10 for the University of Stirling. We've got Edinburgh University's Ben Shuyan. David Hammond goes for Surrey University in 3. Jacob Peters of Bath National Centre in 4. Archie Goodburn of Loughborough University in 5. James Woodward, Hatfield in 6. And Ruben Visder of the City of Sheffield in lane 7. She'll line up. 51.65, Jacob Peters did that time at the British Trials inside the Olympic standard, so he's on the team. In fact, that 100 fly for the men is booked up.
Is booked up, yeah.
James Guy with the other slot. We'll see him in a moment. It's pretty relaxed timing in these heats, just so that we do have time to go through all the protocols in this modern COVID world we all have to go through. As you can see with their plastic bags, they have to look after their own kit, no kit carriers to make life easy for them. Not too much of a hardship.
I was going to say, I'm sure they'll manage.
In fact, we have an empty lane here. No David Hammond in lane 3, so just the 6 swimmers to take this one through, and Jacob Peters straight away with outer body length advantage over Archie Goodburn. Still not used to seeing Archie Goodburn without a red cap on. Plus former Warrender swimmer that's now been at Loughborough for a while. It's looking like he's going to have to settle for second place because Jacob Peters in complete control here.
Yeah, well, he's out almost a half second quicker than he was in the European, so he's absolutely gone for it over the first 50. I mean, super. And maybe just starting to pay for it a little bit down this last 25.
Looking pretty strong in my eyes, but it comes through there in a time of 52.90, so half a second faster than Ed Mildred's time. Good stuff from him. Second was Archie Goodburn, 55.38. James Woodward, 56.19. Jacob Peters then just upping the ante there in 8.2. Just James Guy will no doubt have just taken note of that. So, what do we have to do? There is the final result there. So as you can see, Jacob Peters by around about 2.5 seconds in the end from Goodburn and Woodward. Ruben Visser in 4th.
There's a nice, smooth-looking swimmer, Jacob Peters on the fly. Really enjoyable to watch. He was really quick out on that first 50. Just like a 0.2 or so slower than the Europeans. Now swims at the Bath National Centre. I think he was from Poole originally. Certainly has been progressing well. It's great to see him get a spot on the Olympic team. Another one of those juniors transitioning into the senior ranks. So really, really fantastic to see.
Yep, a good feather in the cap for the Bath programme with, of course, James Guy from Bath as well. So it's Bath taking on the world in the 100 fly.
Indeed, but you can't forget where people come from, and I suppose the coaches and the clubs out there doing the graft of developing athletes. Sometimes the time comes where it's time to move on to a different training environment, and of course you get an excellent training environment in Bath at the National Centre there, as you do in other parts of Britain as well. But it's nice to see that when a transition happens quite successfully, and he's certainly taken to the training in that environment.
So something, I guess, that's really important, that progression, and you're going into the senior programme from your club programme, and it's probably quite a tricky thing to manage, isn't it? Because there's complete change in lifestyle, maybe leaving home for the first time.
Change of coaching relationships, that sort of thing. It's is one of those important things. But I think if it's managed properly, then it can be done really properly and successfully. And of course, there's certain steps that you need to take. You have to be absolutely clear about what it is that you want to do for the start, and then obviously go out and try and find out a little bit more about the place you want to go and visit, get some experience of it perhaps, and make sure that there's a best fit for you, because really what we want to see is more athletes moving into the senior ranks. I think that for the sport in the long term is extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. So the third heat is just about ready to go. Jack Milne back for a second swim in lane 1 for Dundee City Aquatics, swimming S14. George Barber of City of Sheffield in 2. Gregor Swinney of City of Glasgow in 3. And James Guy of Bath University in 4. Cameron Brooks Clark of City of Sheffield in lane 5. Cole Hewitt of Swansea University in 6. And James McFadden of Loughborough University in 7. Guy, bronze medalist in the European Championships, just sneaked under the 51 seconds there. 100th. What can he do? Fastest time so far, that 52.9 we just saw from Jacob. Good start from James McFadden. Bottom of your screen, he's had them pushed out hard. Cameron Brooks Clark, but it is Guy now who is opening up the gap, about a body length clear through halfway, 24.13. So it's good to see these swimmers taking these heats very seriously. I mean, they know that they could coast into these finals, our top swimmers, but they're not doing that, are they?
No, and I think that's part of it, Duncan. There's no point in coming here and trying to experience the evening heats, morning finals, if you're not going to try and use the heats to maximise that opportunity.
52.04 then for James Guy, so that is the fastest to go into the final. And what a good swim that was from James McFadden in lane 7. He was entered 57.07, comes in a 54.21. What's going on?
Well, he's had an excellent season so far, hasn't he? Because he was really tremendous at the London trials, maybe more in the medley than in the fly swim, clearly. But he's been having a tremendous. He's made some massive improvements this season, I think, with the Loughborough University programme there. So very strong.
Yeah, I mean, that 57 wasn't an old time. That was a time done in the British Swimming Invitational in Manchester, so not many months ago at all. So,
but a different stage of the season, though, and
yes,
a number of experiences down the line, a wee bit of momentum going with him at the moment. He really is swimming well. I would imagine he's absolutely loving his swimming at the moment, and he's maximising where he's at the moment.
So we're done with the 100 fly, and you can see there that the wedges are getting fixed onto the blocks, which means it's backstroke. 200 backstroke for the women. Looking forward to this one, I must say, particularly got Dawson in 4 and Wild in 5 in heat 2. That's going to be a cracker. What a swim that was from Cassie Wild in the Europeans. Did you see that one coming, Ali?
Well, it's probably had about 8 years in the coming, to be honest with you. If we go back to our days of development, training in our club and then through Ellesmere College as well. 200 back wasn't necessarily our favourite event in the world. Very much saw ourselves as a 100 backstroker, despite Coach Allen telling her perhaps that 200 might be her event. Maybe even her dad, who used to coach her, telling her the same thing, and likewise the coaching team in Stirling. And I think gradually, it just takes a while sometimes for people to get it. And an excellent swim at the Europeans, and hopefully now she is convinced that 200 might be an event for her that she can take further.
So she's going to have to accept the pain of 200.
I'm not sure that there's no pain in the 100 either. You know.
first heat, though, is at the blocks now, and we have Freya Colbert in lane 1 for Nova Centurion, Holly McGill, Parts Midlothian in 2, Rachel Anderson of Loughborough University in 3, Chloe Golding of City of Manchester, Glasgow in 6, and Lauren Bradley Holt of City of Salford in lane 7. So strong junior presence in this one. Chloe Golding, though, pretty experienced swimmer, going in lane 4. Represented England in the Commonwealth Games and picked up a bronze medal in the World University Games in 2019. Katie Shannon, another one swimming in her home pool, had a fantastic 200 back as well in the Europeans.
An outstanding junior backstroke at the Europeans, making it through the first round and the semis. That was really good, and a nice PB there, maintaining that in the semi-finals and squeezing into the final, and then actually going on to another second PB in the final. I think that was an excellent experience for her as a junior and a senior event, and hopefully for the other juniors that were there as well, that's what they'll take with them, a great experience that they can now use to progress through not just this season but in seasons to come.
So it is Katie Shanahan who is leading the way here. Another junior, Rachel Saunders, a year younger. It looks like she maybe just has second place, although Chloe Golding turning right with her. 105.31 for Katie. Just 400 between Rachel and Chloe at the halfway mark. But now pushing it on now, Chloe Golding just getting ahead of Rachel Saunders now in this third 50. But Katie Shannon certainly looks controlled and well in charge of this heat at the moment. Approaching the 150 turn, she's up by what, 3 meters maybe? 138.92. Maybe just trying to bring it back a little bit in this final 50, but there's no way she's going to catch Katie. She is holding that maybe 3 meter advantage. We'll come in here, so 2:11.20 her entry time. We talked about her times in Budapest, where she went down to 2:09.9, so 12:51. That's the standard set for the second heat, winning it by nearly 2 seconds from Chloe Golding, and then just sneaking up into third place. A little Edinburgh battle there. Holly McGill for Hearts against Rachel Saunders for Warrender, and by a couple of tenths it was Holly McGill who took the honours there, and that again could be very important. So 2:15.94 fourth place. Just the 2 heats in this one and no B final in this 200 backstroke. So if they want a second swim, they've got to get into the senior final. So let's see whether they can do that. So just make a note of that 2:15.94. Rachel Anderson 2:16.18. Let's see whether more swimmers can get inside that from the second heat. Kathleen Dawson, when we talked right up at the beginning of the transmission about her performances in the 100 backstroke, she also did a very fine 200 backstroke in the British trials. To take the consideration time of 2:08.14 was the Scottish record until Cassie came along in Europe.
Yep, indeed. Interesting in that last heat, the 2 juniors, or the 3 juniors obviously, with Katie Shanahan in there. Katie comfortably under the European junior consideration time in there, as perhaps you would expect. 2 other girls just outside at that point, so they'll be hoping that they do get a second swim just so that they can have another shot at it.
Yep.
Got two good swims in there as well.
So European juniors, I think I'm right in saying that it's got the same restrictions, that there can only be 2 per event as same as in the Olympics. Am I right about that?
Well, you can take more than 2 to the European Juniors, but you know, I think a lot of it is at the discretion of the selection group, and of course they'll meet after the completion of this event. It's been a difficult year and not easy to put together a policy here, but I think it's quite important that we keep trying to move things forward as well. And there is an opportunity here for people to race.
Because we'll see a lot more juniors going in the afternoon sessions this week. So a real chance for a lot of them, really their first competition of the year. So
really depends on when you go back in the water. It really is quite challenging out there for juniors if they didn't get back in the water straight away. But fingers crossed they enjoy the opportunity to race.
So this is the second heat ready to go now. We have B. Varley of Plymouth Leander in 1, Sophie Shaw of Mid-Sussex in 2, Charlotte Evans, Loughborough University in 3, then the 2 Stirling ladies, Kathleen Dawson in 4 and Cassie Wilde in 5, then Ellie Turner of Perth City in 6 and Ellis Shields in University in lane 7. So you'd expect this to be Dawson versus Wilde. Sterling head-to-head. Just about coming up towards the 15 before they broke the surface, and Kathleen, just as she broke the surface, just moving clear by about a metre from Charlotte Evans one side of her and Cassie Wilde on the other. Then just behind them, Ellie Turner and Ellis Shields, both going pretty well. 30.96. So it's around 7/10 faster than Katie Shanahan's split. Charlotte Evans is the one that is pushing her. Perhaps a little bit of a surprise there. Thought it might have been Cassie Wilde on her other side.
It looks like there's a slightly different set of tactics being employed here. Out very controlled. Be trying to swim it a little bit more even.
So Dawson and Evans turning just about together. Dawson just getting the touch. 65.04. Cassie Wilde holding third, but she's a fair way back, and then Ellis Shields pushing behind her to try and grab what could be a very important 4th spot ahead of Sophie Shaw. Kathleen Dawson now just starting to take control perhaps, and we are seeing maybe Cassie Wilde coming back a little bit. 50 to go. 1:39.32. So actually the pace has just dropped back a bit compared with the first heat. Dawson getting the job done now, leads by a body length. It looks like the top 3 is going to be Dawson, Evans, Wilde in that order. Kathleen Dawson. But we want to just show I am the number 1 in backstroke, and not just in the 100, but in the 2 as well. 2:11.81 in the end. 7/10 faster than Katie Shanahan. Second, Charlotte Evans. Third, Cassie Wilde. So we said 2:15.94 was 4th place in the first heat. You can see there, third place, 2:16.32 there. So some of those swimmers who were on the cusp in the first heat will be in.
Right, come back to that, and you're in the first heat. You really need to pony your time up, because otherwise you miss out. But when you do, then you get a really good chance of getting yourself into the final, and that's what's happened on that occasion. Kathleen Dawson looking pretty controlled there, I have to say. Well, 65, 66 there on the splits. Normally swims it quite even, I think, on that, but you know, at that pace, very, very controlled.
And this has been something of a breakthrough season for Kathleen so far. Obviously, we hope the best is yet to come.
Well, I think we got to remember, you know, if you go way back to 2016, she won a medal in the European Championships back then, narrowly missed out on Olympic selection in 2016, obviously had a great Commonwealth Games in 2014 as well, actually making the final there. So she's been a very promising junior as she progressed from her swimming club in Warrington. She moved up to Stirling. So she was a 59-point backstroker back then. So very, very, an excellent backstroker already at that point. And the 200 was quite a strong part of her group of events that she swam. She swam all three, 50, 100 and 200 backstroke. And a cruciate ligament injury which kept her out. But with all challenging things, there comes an opportunity as well, and her recovery has really gone well after that. And as time moves on, she's really got her teeth into that now, and has made some fantastic gains over the last 12 to 18 months, moving herself from a 59 and a half on the 100 back through to a 58, 58-1 backstroker, which really is world class. I think that time at the Europeans was something like the top 5 of all time at that point. So, I mean, that just shows you how much she has progressed over that particular event. But not only that, she's dropped her 200 backstroke as well now, and it will be interesting to see what the reaction is on that 200 backstroke. Maybe she'll leave it for a while and come back to it, but I can't see that she's going to want her teammate to be beating her for too long.
So we move on to the men. First of 2 heats of the men's 200 backstroke. Line up here: Mark Ford of City of Glasgow in 1, Nick Skelton of Abingdon Vale in 2, Cameron Brooker of Wickham District in 3, Brody Williams of Bath National Centre in 4, Elliot Clogg of the Loughborough National Centre in 5, Jonathan Adam, Bath National Centre in 6, and Martin Walton from the University of Stirling in lane 7. So we have an open space in the men's 200 backstroke. Luke Greenbank, of course, pre-selected after his performance in the World Championships. We'll see him in the second heat. Brody Williams is the fastest entry time here. Has already booked his slot, but not in the 200 backstroke. So we'll see whether he can pick up a second time here. 27.87 to get them going. 9.5 is Elliot Clogg, and he's got the advantage now. Maybe a metre. In fact, I think a bit more than that. Pushing it on here. Maybe some signs here in these backstrokes of a couple of swimmers maybe just taking it a little easier in these heats than we saw early on. Perhaps that's the case here with Brody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he looks very controlled at that point, and Brody obviously qualified for the Olympic team on the 400 medley. So as you say, he's already got a spot. Elliot Clogg there swam, pretty well at the trials there, and this is his opportunity to try and get himself up there for a shout. And I think he's capable of getting close to the time. Maybe not this evening, but he'll certainly be wanting to not be a million miles away. It'll be interesting to see what he comes back in after having gone out in 57 point there.
156.60 is the Olympic consideration time. He was second in the trials, but just missed out on that time, 157.77. So let's see how close he gets to it here. As you say, really pushing it hard here. Knows that spot is there, but well, it'll have to be tomorrow morning, if it is at all. But that was a good warm-up for it. 158.10. So he would have to pick up a second and a half over 200 metres to nail that time. Cameron Brooker taking second, Brody Williams third, both on 201s. So 57 and then nearly 61.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that's the tactic he employs again tomorrow, when he goes out at a similar time and just tries to bring it back a little bit quicker.
So you can see there the 201s, Cameron and Brody. There's Jonathan Adam in fourth place, just nicking it from Martin Walton by 700ths. Mark Ford. Guess we'll have some hopes to make the Euro Junior time, the Glaswegian.
Indeed, and I think that was a small PB for him there as well, actually. So another step in the right direction for Mr. Ford.
So we saw Luke Greenbank obviously coming back from injury at the trials, but really showing much more of the Luke that we know at the Europeans. Very fine silver medal, British record in the semis.
Yeah, he really was outstanding, wasn't he? Fantastic swim out there in Budapest, and swam it so positively as well. And really give himself every opportunity to go and win the race. I can only imagine that that's something that he's been discussing with his coach Mel Marshall. So former Cockermouth swimmer, performing extremely well, and certainly is going to be right up there, I would imagine, at the Olympic Games.
So the line up here, full pool, 8 swimmers. Robbie Hemmings of pool in lane 1. Second mention for pool tonight. Lane 2, City of Cardiff, Xavier Castelli. Lane 3 from Loughborough University, Charlie Brown. Then we have Luke Greenbank from the Loughborough National Centre. Craig McNally goes in lane 5 for University of Stirling. Jake Greeno, Bath University in 6. Simon Clement in lane 7 for City of Sheffield. And Zach Speakman of Royal Wolverhampton is in lane 8. Craig McNally, of course, very experienced 200 backstroker, and he'll be perhaps having trying to get his hat in the ring for this one.
Yeah, again, interesting. You know, he swam quite positively in London. Certainly capable of doing it. You know, his best was 55 and a half. Swam that in the World Championships back in 2013. I want to say that, when he finished 6th at that point in time. So, you know, certainly capable of it, but he hasn't been in that sort of form for a wee while now. But coming back from a wee bit of an injury, and he's certainly been performing quite positively.
So that's the line-up, and we're all ready to go. So it'll be interesting to see how Luke Greenbank takes this one, whether he takes this one hard, just try and build on that very positive experience in Budapest. He has the early lead, McNally going with him. And then lane 2, Castelli, another very experienced campaigner in lane 2, the Welshman. So up there in lane 6, Jacob Greeno of Bath. So there's a good few in the hunt here. Greenbank just behind Castelli, in fact, 27.89. Pretty much identical split to the first heat. But look at this, they're all lined down the pool here. Castelli in 2, Brown in 3, Greenbank 4, McNally 5, Greeno 6, all there or thereabouts. As we come up to halfway, I think it might just be Greenbank getting the touch, but very little to choose between them. 50, in fact it's McNally, 58.35 with the touch there. The pace has dropped compared with Elliot Clogg's time. It's about a second adrift of that. McNally, of course, famous for second halving the 200 backstroke. Let's see what he can do here. Looks like he has taken up the lead now and pushing it on. He's definitely taking this very seriously indeed. He's now up by about 1.5 meters into the final 50, 1:28.22. Again, slightly slower than Clogg's time. Maybe Greenbank just perhaps coming back at him a little bit down this final 50. Charlie Brown in 3rd spot. McNally holding Greenbank just about, but well, for how much longer? Because Greenbank is finishing very strongly here. The two of them now together with Brown just behind them. The touch goes to McNally by 0.09 of a second. 1:59.44 and 1:59.53. Charlie Brown takes third, just over the 2 minutes, 2:00.05. And again, you need quite a big drop to get from 1:59 high to the 1:56.6. So, but it's going to be a good final, I think.
I think so. And the race is the thing that pulls you through, isn't it? If you've got people to race against. obviously they'll need to go a little bit quicker, but you know, it's not always just about that. It's about how you set yourself up to challenge each other and who can actually take the victory. So Greenback quite clearly cruising on that swim, even if he is tired from training at the moment or the exertions of the previous couple of weeks. You know he's going to be able to push on in the final tomorrow. So it will be a very interesting race. There is a spot up for grabs. Again, who knows?
See what happens. Just picking up back to the women's 200 backstroke and tell you Cassie Wild did just make the final in 8th spot. So the finalists, Dawson, Shannon, Evans, Golding, McGill, Saunders, Anderson and Wild, Freya Colbert and Ellis Shields just missing out. So from 200s we go to the first of our sprints. It's the women's 50 freestyle. This will go in 3 heats. We've got quite a strong para entry in this one, as well as a strong able-bodied entry. Lucy Hope will lead the way in the first heat, another one who has shown some excellent form this season, including, of course, some excellent relay performances in Budapest. Part of that. Was it a surprise to you, Ali, just how dominant the British women were in Budapest in the relays?
I don't think I was super surprised, to be honest with you, because we'd obviously seen the way that the swimmers were going up until that point. You're just never sure how the meet's going to go itself and what sort of shape people were going in. However, it was a great opportunity, and they took it, and it was fantastic, especially in the relays as well. It's great to see good, strong relay depth. I think that's the sign of a good, strong swimming nation as well. So it was fantastic to see, and there was some outstanding performances.
Yeah, and it seemed to be a great team spirit among those women as well in Budapest. It just felt that coming through on the transmissions. So the lineup here: Ellie Robinson's S6 swimmer from Northampton in 2, Rebecca de Torres of City of Cardiff in 3, Lucy Hope of Edinburgh University in 4, Harriet Rogers of Newcastle in 5. 2 more para swimmers: S12, Hannah Russell, City of Manchester in 6, and Ellie Chullis, the S3 swimmer from Clacton in lane 7. So just a slight wobble on the start there. Not quite sure what happened there, but we're going to start again. Get everybody settled. So nobody made the time at the British trials, but Anna Hopkin was inside it at the European, so you'd think she would be swimming this one in Tokyo. But is there somebody that can join her? You see Anna in heat 3, but here we go with the first heat. As we have some superb para swimmers in here. Hannah Russell in particular, the para champion from Rio. But the centre lanes here, it's Lucy Hope in 4, Harriet Rogers in 5. Testing this in the blue cap, it is Lucy Hope, and she is going to take this one, although it got a little tighter as they came into the wall, but time of 25.88 for her. That's 7/10 away from her entry time. Harriet Rogers in second, 26.04, and Rebecca de Torres third. We see here Ellie Chalice coming in, the S3 swimmer, entered 58.11. So let's see what she can do compared with that. Hard into the wall there, and that's an excellent time there, 55.48. I think she'll be well chuffed with that.
Yep, an excellent swim there from Ellie in the outside lane there. Finishing extremely well, keeping her rate all the way through down the last 10-15 metres.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is a new S3 British record as well, so excellent stuff, 55.48. Hope I'm not mistaken on that, but very pleased for Ellie there. The other para swimmers, Hannah Russell 28.41. effort. Of course, let's just count the numbers, 7 para-swimmers in this event, so they'll all make it through to the para-final tomorrow. Line up now for second heat. Abby Kane, S13 swimmer, goes in 2 for University of Stirling. Then Erin Little of Mount Kelly in 3. Isabella Hindley of Brompton in 4. Emma Russell of the University of Stirling in 5. Lucy Grieve of South Ayrshire in 6. Leah O'Connell, S7 swimmer from Camden, Swiss, in lane 7. Emma Russell, part of the relay squads. Heat swims from her, but contributed to the cause, picked up the gold medal as a result in the 4x1 and the 4x2. Good start though from Isabella Hindley, straight away into the lead, tied for second in the trials. Erin Little maybe just in second ahead of Emma Russell, but no doubt it is going to be Isabella Hindley taking this one clear by over a metre as she comes in 25.40, so a little bit faster than the first heat, nearly half a second. Time to try and grab a spot is 24.6, so she'd have to take 8/10 off that tomorrow morning. Who knows? Emma Russell taking 3rd behind Erin Little.
Yep, a pretty decent swim there from Isabella. That's maybe just 0.3 outside her best time, so she'll be looking to take that a wee step further tomorrow. Get right there, take the opportunity.
Confirmation of the times on the screen for you there. Hindley, Little and Russell, the 1, 2, 3. 2 para swimmers, Abby Kane 31.14, Leah O'Connell 38.16. Both of them just a little bit outside their entry times, but as I said earlier, they'll have another go tomorrow morning. The 3rd heat now at the blocks. That's the lineup. Tony Shaw swimming S9 for University of Aberdeen in 2. Kate Clifton of City of Sheffield in 3. Anna Hopkin of Loughborough National Centre in 4. Evie Davis of Bromley in 5. Leah Whitaker, Mount Kelly in 6. And second para swimmer S6 Grace Harvey of Hoddesdon goes in lane 7. So Anna Hopkin, finalist in the European Championships, did a 24.51 there, 900ths inside the consideration time, having missed it in the trials.
Yep, she had a tremendous meet, didn't she? Absolutely fantastic, some of the swims that she put in, both individually and in relays as well.
Davis, the youngster, 17-year-old, was another one who was part of that relay squad doing her contributions in the heats. But look at Anna Hopkin go here. She is streets ahead of the rest of them. Looks like Davis in second, just ahead of Clifton, but this is Anna Hopkin all the way as they come into the final 5 meters. She's clear by over a body length and comes in at a time of 24.67. So that was, well, pretty impressive. That
very good swim.
That was only 1600ths away from the time she did in Budapest, and very clearly the fastest from the 3 heats. So she is a swimmer in form.
Indeed, you can see in these events, especially, it's magnified somewhat the skills that you need. Your start, your underwater, your transition into the stroke. They're important in all events. In the 50, it's magnified even more. You don't quite get that right, then the event doesn't quite flow. But that was a fantastic swim there. Really great to see off the back of the Europeans. 24.6 there. That's excellent.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether she can go faster than that tomorrow morning. She'll be, obviously that will be the target. Evie Davison second. Just looking at the scoreboard here at the venue. So if I can get the top 8. Just missed it, so I'll need to wait on that. Oh no, I've got it now. Hopkin, Hindley, Hope, Davis, Little, Rogers, Russell and Clifton.
I was going to say, Duncan, you're normally a little bit quicker than that.
Well, I'm rusty.
You're a wee bit rusty.
15 months since I did this. Just working my way back.
You dust down some of your old scripts and stuff, did you?
But it is fantastic to be back. Such a privilege to be here in Glasgow with all these fantastic swimmers. Men's 50 freestyle next. Line up on the screen for you. Louis Lawler, S14 swimmer, goes in 2 for City of Glasgow. Daniel Jones, Swansea University, in 3. Alex Bowen of Loughborough University in 4. Matt Richards of Bath National Centre in 5. Kyle Boyack of Edinburgh University in 6. And the S4 swimmer, Lyndon Longhorn, goes in lane 7. We'll see Lyndon doing the 150 IM later on, which is an event reserved for the lower classification para swimmers. So we'll see what he could do. So again, we've got one space up for grabs in this event. Pretty tight coming down here. Matt Richards just edging into the lead now, ahead of Bowen and Boyack, and also going well Daniel Jones in lane number 3. Who's going to get the touch? It might be, in fact, Richards. Yes, it is. From lane 5, 22.94. So probably more used to slightly longer distance, Matt Richards, but that was a good strong swim from him, just within 1500ths or so of his entry time. And I guess for some of them as well that do the 100 and the 200, it's also about testing your speed in the 50 and just really working on that back end speed for the other events. So if you can do it in the one event in the 50.
Well, yeah, you can see it right at the top end of the sport. It's a very specific event, isn't it? It's not like there's not that many that are going from the 50 to the 100, especially in the men's event. Not to say they can't do good hundreds as well, because there are a few obviously that do it, but Matt Richards swimming the 200, the 100, and also doing the 50 as well. So there's a range of events there, and you would very much say he was in the 200, 100 bracket.
So 2 swimmers in the centre lanes here in this next heat. Cumberledge and Whittle might just fancy a go at this. Whittle already has a slot on the plane. There's the lineup. Harry Turner of Swansea, Adam Barrett of Wickham District, David Cumberledge, Edinburgh University, Jacob Whittle of Daventio, Cameron Brooks Clark of City of Sheffield, and the S5 swimmer Andrew Mullen, the City of Glasgow, in lane 7. Of course, very experienced Paralympian Andrew. In London and Rio. So let's see if we can get something fast here. Out of the dive, it looks like the best start was Adam Barrett in lane 3, but Cumberledge beside him, and beside him in lane 5 Jacob Whittle. So those 3, this is pretty tight here. Maybe Cumberledge just, oh, I don't know, in fact Whittle I think takes it. Yes, it is 22.69 for him, so that is a bit faster than the first heat by about a quarter of a second. Second was Cumberledge, 22.82. And third place, Adam Barrett, 22.95. Whittle managed that pretty well, didn't he? Because he was sort of in the frame there, but just when it matters in that last 5 meters, just moved through to take the win.
Indeed, it's quite, you know, for his age of experience and development. It's really, you know, he really is going well just now, and you're quite right there, just coming through in the last 10, 15 meters, just showing you how strong he is. He does something similar in the 100 as well. He's pretty strong down the last 25 on the 100, so a swimmer who's got a bright future in front of him.
So swimmer who's got a bright future in front of him and behind him goes in this one, lane 4, Ben Proud. So he talked about the 50s becoming specialists. In the past, he's always sort of stepped up and become part of the relay squad at 100. Would you expect him to do that at Tokyo, or do you think it's all about the 50 this time?
It's always hard to tell. I think once you're on the team, you're on the team, aren't you? That sort of thing. But I think his training is very much around the 50-metre event. But like the women's event as well, the skills that you require. Ben Brown's one of the best starters in the world, and you have to be if you're going to compete successfully over the 50 events.
So line up here, Harry Constantine of Hatfield in 2, Thomas Watkins, City of Sheffield in 3, Ben Proud of Plymouth Leander in 4, Jack Thorpe, Edinburgh University in 5, Harry Stacey of Chivrers in 6, William Perry, Northampton in 7. European Championship silver medalist, 21.42 the time he did at the British Trials. Really working that straight arm style and opening up a gap of a metre and a half of the swimmers either side of him, Jack Thorpe and Thomas Watkin. It's going to be Thorpe in second place, but he can't live with Proud, who takes it in 22.10. So that was clearly the fastest time, and too far away from the time he did in the trials. 21.42, so 7/10 away from that just. Jack Thorpe 22.62, Thomas Watkin 22.96.
See straight away the domination, couldn't you, right from the start?
Yeah.
On that event. Extremely talented swimmer. Somebody's worked on their skills for years, and that's what you get. I think when you keep focusing on something, you expect it to gradually improve and get better. Aspiring to that world-class level and being able to deliver it under pressure like he did Europeans as well, and he'll hope to do in Tokyo. I think he's got a great chance.
Yeah, it's small margins though when you get to the top, isn't it? Just one tiny little thing and it's ruined, really. You've got no chance to come back and recover.
Very difficult, yeah.
So 50 breaststroke now is next up, and because this is not an Olympic event, so what will the swimmers be looking for here?
Well, I think there'll be different reasons for different athletes. On this event, you've got Sarah Vasey, who's just back from the Europeans, who swam an excellent 100 breaststroke, didn't she? Absolutely fantastic. So she'll no doubt be using it for part of her racing and preparation.
So the line up in the first heat: Ellie Sybil Perkins, City of Birmingham in 2, Maya Hall of Ellesmere College in 3, then 2 from Edinburgh University, Cara Hanlon in 4, Katie Robertson in 5, and Lucia Grant of Plymouth Leander in lane 6. In times 31 to 33s. So this could be an Edinburgh head-to-head here, you'd think, and Cara Hanlon, who had a pretty good set of swims in the trials, is leading the way here. She is going to take it in the end pretty comfortably from Katie Robinson and Maya Hall. That would be the 1, 2, 3. 31.55, very close to her entry time. Just 700ths away from that. So you think she'd be pretty happy with that?
Yep, Cara had an excellent season so far. A lovely PB in the 200 breaststroke down in London at the London Trials there as well, so very well in the 100 also. Hails from Stornoway, one of the Western Isles. Very proud of that as well, actually. And if I remember rightly, actually, when she started developing as a swimmer, she used to swim in a 15-metre pool.
15
metre pool.
1.5.
Yes.
Not 5.0.
Yes, which does show you that it doesn't really matter what size of pool it is, that if you try and do the right things, you can actually progress. having seen that personally, it's quite a small pool.
So the second heat on the screen there, Anna Morgan of Millfield, teammate Lily Booker beside her in lane 3, Sarah Vasey, Loughborough National Centre in 4, Katie Goodburn of Warrender in 5, Annabelle Guy-Johnson of Edinburgh University in 6, and Beth Dennis from the city of Peterborough in lane 7. Sarah Vasey just missed a medal in the European Championships. Entry time came from the Invitational meet in Manchester a couple of months ago, 30.88. Of course, didn't swim this event at the trials. There she is pushing it out, and maybe half a metre up. Hannah Morgan in the green cap at the top of your screen, going very nicely. Looks like she's just ahead of Katie Goodburn. So two Scots battling away for second, but it's going to be Vasey from Loughborough who will take it very comfortably indeed. Time of 30.95. And Sarah will be hoping for good things in the breaststroke in Tokyo.
Yeah, and there's, we were just talking about the 50 freestyle earlier, but there's somebody who was, you know, over the 50 was always very, very good, very fast, very powerful, skillful, whose 100 is now coming on off the back of that one. So she really is doing a great job at the moment.
Anna Morgan second. In fact, a little unsorted there, I think, that result, but just try and work it out. Definitely was Anna Morgan second. I think it was Katie Goodburn third. And you can just see on the scoreboard there, the top 8, if your eyesight was good enough. Of course, the results are available via the British Swimming website. You can keep tabs on that as we go. Men's 50 breaststroke now. Of course, we all know who's coming in heat 2, but before that, we've got Conor Morrison, the SB14 swimmer in lane 1, Jean Cook, Irishman from Edinburgh University in 2, Greg Butler in 3 from Loughborough University, Ross Murdoch, University of Stirling in 4, Archie Goodburn of Loughborough University in 5, another Edinburgh-based Irishman, Nick Quinn, goes in 6, Bradley Newman of City of Cardiff in 7, and Scott Quinn goes for Warrender, SB14 in lane 8. There's no final for the paras in this one. It's not a para event for these SB14s, so they'll be looking for fast swims in these heats. But well, it's all very tight here. Lanes 3 and 4. Butler just touching it from Murdoch. 28.09 against 28.15. So Butler inside his entry time by a couple of tenths. Murdoch in second, of course, has the Olympic spot on the 200 breaststroke. Back in the day, he was very useful 50 breaststroke, but doesn't do that too often nowadays.
No, he swam at the Europeans as much. He obviously didn't see that as his main event, but he still likes to swim it. And back in the day, that's what he was going the other way, wasn't he? He was going 50-100 upwards. So, but quickly realised that 200 was his main event here. But Greg Butler in there, he's had a great season so far as well. He seems to have been popping in some lifetime bests across the various meets in Manchester and London as well. So good job from Greg.
And a little bit of trivia there. The two Irishmen from Edinburgh University dead heated there between the two of them, 28.70 for the pair of them. So
that'll be Nick Quinn just making sure that the youngster doesn't get the better of him.
So the second heat is ready to go. Gavin Roberts, SB14, goes in 0. First time we've had lane 0 in use for this evening. Samuel Neild of Surrey University in 1, Max Hagan of City of Glasgow in 2, Kyle Booth in 3 for City of Cardiff. Then it's Adam Beattie Loughborough National Centre. David Murphy, also from Loughborough National Centre, beside him in 5. Then David Bloomfield of Loughborough University. Conor Bryan of Abingdon Vale, and William Ellington in 8. So Adam Peaty, what was it they talked about? The quadruple in the Europeans, including, of course, the 50 breaststroke. So you'd certainly fancy him here. 26:06 entry time for him. This world record holder, and takes it in a pretty comfortable 27 dead. Not bad for a heat swim.
The opening of his 200, I think, for Peaty, he's an amazing athlete across any sport. One of the best in the world in any sport at the moment. Quite often, I think, in British sport, people like him are taken for granted. Quite a lot of people don't actually realise how good this guy is. Absolutely phenomenal.
It's his consistency as well, isn't it? Every time.
Just outstanding consistency. You talked about the quadruple, the number of times that he's broken 58. Some of the top 15 100-metre breaststrokes ever. It's absolutely incredible. Anything he gets, the credit that he gets is absolutely 100% deserved, and I think he should be held up as an example across all sport, across the country and in world sport as well. Absolutely tremendous.
So one more event this evening and one more swimmer this evening. We talked about it briefly earlier. Lyndon Longhorn here will do it all by himself. Derwent side swimmer, swimming SM4 in the 150 metres individual medley. So they miss out the fly. So into the pool. Start on backstroke. There's an entry time of 3:04. So we'll see whether he can get anywhere near that. Tough to do it by yourself, isn't it? You feel that it's all about personal concentration and just keep your pace that you're trying to stick to.
Indeed, Lyndon, as he's very experienced now, will be used to these kind of situations, but he's one of the most resilient swimmers out there. He's just dropped down a class as well, so but he really is phenomenal athlete, and he's stuck at it for a number of years as well, so it's great to see him still going here now, and I don't think he'll be a million miles away from para selection either for the Paralympics.
So 53.78 after the backstroke. Pushing it on in the breaststroke. Way down the pool, just trying to maintain that strength, of course, all in the arms here.
Yeah, that's swimming predominantly with your arms there. He's got to maintain his rate as much as possible, just to keep his body positioned there, and he's doing a great job of that. It's not easy to keep that level of rate going.
So underneath the flags and coming up to the 100-metre mark. Standing the clock just into 2:06 territory, 2:06.72. So around about 73 rather for his breaststroke, and certainly be a lot faster than that in his freestyle. So would need to go around 57 if he was to match his entry time here. Going through halfway, the clock around 2:34-ish. So he's going to be close to it.
I think he's going to be a million miles away here. Again, just trying to keep that rate going. Difficult to do from the different length of limbs as well, so really got to try and focus down that last 5.
So into the last 2 or 3 meters now. Just tries to up his pace a little bit as he goes into the wall, and that's excellent. 3:01.18. I think that will be a new SM4 British record for him. So brilliant stuff, improving by 3 seconds nearly on his time that he entered on, and of course he'll get to do it tomorrow again.
Absolutely, and that wouldn't surprise me if he goes even faster.
Do you think he could break 3 minutes?
I don't think he'd be a million miles away, to be honest, because as I say, extremely focused swimmer, and he's pretty tough as well, so you know, it wouldn't surprise me that he uses the momentum that he's got now just to go that little bit faster in the morning.
So it's been a pretty good first evening's performances. The swimmers by and large took it very seriously in these evening heats, and we'll see how they react tomorrow morning to the thought of morning finals. What would you expect tomorrow? Are you excited as to what's coming up?
Well, you know, I'm super excited about any kind of swimming that's going on at the moment. So I think it'll be absolutely tremendous in the morning. I think the athletes will be right up for it. And I think we may well see some outstanding races tomorrow. And I think, you know, if you're watching it at home, make sure you tune in and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be plenty of exciting swimming tomorrow morning. Ali, it's been a great pleasure with you in the commentary box again. So we look forward to many more exciting races to come. Just a reminder that we'll get swimming underway at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so we'll come on transmission just shortly before 10 o'clock. We hope you'll be able to join us. Ali, once again, thanks very much for your company in the commentary box, but for now, I'm Duncan McKinnell, and I wish you a good evening from Tollcross. See you tomorrow.
Whatever your day holds, you need a breakfast that helps you get up and go. Up.
And go, go, go.
Up.
And go.
A delicious breakfast shake made with oats and milk. High in fibre, high in protein, high in calcium. Start right with Up and Go. The official breakfast partner of British Swimming. Find us in the cereal aisle.
Sim-only plans? There are always so many tempting options. So you jump headfirst into a long contract, which keeps you locked in for 12 months.
Somebody let me out!
At Labara, we offer great value plans and total flexibility. You can get 10 gigs of data, unlimited UK minutes and texts, and 100 international minutes for just £10 a month. And you can change or cancel anytime.
Now I feel free!
Buy now at labara.co.uk.
Attention, please. Here's something I bet you didn't know. Not all supplements are created equal. At HealthSpan, our omega-3 oil is sustainably sourced from the South Pacific Ocean. We find our turmeric in the southern slopes of India. And our cod liver oil comes from the cold, crisp seas off Greenland. We work hard to seek out the best ingredients for our supplements, because that's the HealthSpan way. We're healthspan.co.uk. Vitamins and supplements in-store or direct to your door.
The latest in tech suit innovation. Frictionless fiber construction. Surface lift technology. Endo compression cage. seamless exo shell. Tier Benzo. Battleborn.